King Frank and the Knights of the Eco-Quest. King Frank and the Knights of the Eco-Quest. King Frank and the Knights of the Eco-Quest.
Episode 2, The Three Knights.
The Kingdom of Frank's situation was dire, with piles of trash that got higher and higher. And what King Frank often heard from his daughter was the kingdom had no safe, clean water. She asked him to send knights to find eco-treasure that would bring the kingdom immeasurable pleasure. The king ignored her and went on his way, but was involved in an accident that very day. His bathroom pipes caused water to spout. He fell in the bath and knocked himself out. It was Queen Aqualine who discovered the king.
My king, husband, what's happening? Servants? There's no answer. He's in trouble, I fear. Bring our portable battering ram. Break down the door. Put your back into it. More!
The ram arrived and they broke down the door. Both it and the servants fell through to the floor. Slumped in the tub, the king couldn't stop wheezing.
He's hardly breathing. Dear husband, talk to me, please. My king, has your heart seized?
She called the physician who administered meds, then had the king carried to his four-poster bed.
Father, see what happens when there's eco-neglect. My environmental concerns deserve respect.
And I can see an awful time coming if we don't fix what's getting into our plumbing.
All right, I can see we are in a spot. If nothing is done, my kingdom will rot. I accept the situation is bleak. What is this eco-treasure of which you speak?
I remember a story my nurse often told when I was a girl only 7 years old. Once, long ago in our kingdom's land, was a source of fresh water close at hand. A spring from the earth, crystal and pure, now gone. Its location remembered no more. You ask me of what eco-treasure I speak. The ancient fountain of Frank is what we must seek. Please, Father, heed my solemn request and send knights out on an eco-quest.
All right. We shall advertise for the knights we need. Each shall be chosen at royal behest to venture forth on an eco-quest, to prove their best to my Aqualine and to King Frank.
And Queen Aqualine.
And we'll honour the knights with riches and rank, if they can find the lost fountain of Frank, a source of water pure beyond measure, which would change the lives of our people forever.
I think I know who should write a royal advert for 3 knights. Lester the Jester has the know-how and wit to create an advert that will be a hit.
He's more like a fool and a nitwit. Why give the job to the kingdom's best twit?
But Lester was summoned and brought pen and pad to compose job specs for the Hire a Knight ad.
I've just told my jokes to some of the horses, and now I'm head of Royal Human Resources. I have here an advert that'll do the trick and get you 3 knights in a clickety-click.
Let's hope your ad will inspire and thrill and deliver 3 knights that will fit the bill.
Wanted 3 gallant knights to ride abroad with own armour and sword, a shield of course, and preferably a horse. Apply only for your professional knights who will trot, canter and gallop for days and nights across deserts and mountains, swamps and rivers. Against monster or army you must never quiver, and you'd better make sure at the end of the quest you return with an eco-treasure chest. Eco-treasure to help the kingdom's plight. The jobs will go to the most eco-friendly knights.
And add by command of your revered, most honoured and loved King Frank.
And add no layabouts, vagabonds or cranks, only knights of rank.
And add the closing date, our terms and conditions and our royal thanks.
On an evening out at a nightclub, 3 local knights saw the advert pinned up. First,
Leo Frigg, poet knight and wordsmith of the 3, armed with the kingdom's best poetry.
Second was
Katrine, the brave, courageous knight. I believe no warrior can challenge my might.
The third was
Alf, the best dressed of knights, who is proud me mum knitted me chainmail and tights.
He's also known as the faint-hearted, hypochondriacal knight.
And complains of a cold when confronted to fight.
Well, so would you in my condition.
Listen, if we applied for this quest base wondering, what is it we'd find to please the king?
Can't think of anything.
Not surprising. A treasure trove of bling? A new crown or a ring? What are we expected to bring to impress the king?
Something.
In Katrine's head, something went...
Some kind of an eco thing that would vavavoom and zing and totally wow the princess and king.
Can't think of a thing.
The advert was answered by the trio of knights. Each told of past deeds, their jousts and their height. A few days later, as they dined and drank mead, the king's messenger arrived on a white steed.
For your knight application, our monarch sends thanks. I've a royally sealed letter here from King Frank. On the 4th day of this month at 2:30, you've been granted a royal job interview.
I bet we'll be up against real knights. We won't stand a chance.
Hey, we are real knights. Get out of your we're not good enough trance.
We have youth and my poetry on our side. That's my stance.
It got to the day and it got to the time. The knights waited their turn in a long knightly line. Then a page appeared and called them in to the chambers of the Queen and King. Princess Aqualine was also there, and with pen and pad and a flick of her hair, she took a few notes from the knight's CV, then asked,
What experience do you have of quests, you three?
I've quested in England, in Ireland and France. I've fought with all weapons. My favourites are lance. As knight poet, I'd tell of the trials and tests we'll endure to complete a successful quest.
Alf was nervous, faint-hearted and weak. He had nothing to say and was next to speak. Katrine whispered a piece of advice in his ear.
Make something up, or we'll lose the job here.
Well, for my kingdom of Frank, I'll fight to the last. I once fought a dragon with my leg in a cast. I beat 7 monsters with a paperclip after questing through mountains on my bad hip. Once, up against giants, I was half the bold, defeating them even though I had a cold. One time, when my eyes were infected and twitched, I still wrestled a demon, a troll and a witch. My mum always told me, to no creature yield. Her words and a photo emblazon my shield. I also sponsor an endangered newt and have passed an exam on the lute. Oh, did I mention my embroidery class or the visor I'm making out of stained glass?
I know I said grovel, not recite your latest novel. Like my co-knights, I have knightly abilities. I've mastered all of the knightly agilities. Tournament jousting, long jumping, diving, swimming, wrestling, weaponry, climbing, dancing. These feats can be done by a milkmaid or farmer. But I do all these things whilst wearing my armour.
It's very knightly that you can move so sprightly in all that metal. I commend your ability. But my knights must also have the facility to master all the eco-agilities. The knowledge of what makes clean air, the recycling of stuff we buy, use or wear, reducing carbon on all of your quests, leaving wildlife in layers and birds in their nests. Most importantly, I, the King's daughter, ask you to find us safe, clean water.
But if you are to become hired knights, there's one more thing I must cite. Frankdom's traditions since my great-great-great-great-great... How many greats is that? 2 more. Great-great-grandfather was born... dictates there must be a challenge to test your muscle and brawn. Can any one of you with bare hands and alone lift the bin no other can lift from the sacred bin stone? Only one person, our tradition decrees, must move the enormous bin with ease.
The knights gave each other a long, hard stare.
Making us lift something heavy? That's not fair. That wasn't part of the job spec. Might sprain me shoulder, me ankle, me neck.
As poet, I should go last, as I'll be writing about you as you step in to take your turns at lifting the bin.
If we lack the physical prowess to move that lump of metal, we're in a mess.
Before tomorrow's great challenge, we'll decide who'll go first.
For such a trial of strength, we're under-rehearsed.